I'm not.
Alright, boom.
Okay.
We're going. Okay. I was just gonna say before as well, like, what you made a joke about, like, like going to a new like workplace and whatever, and it's great because they don't know how small your penis is.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, if you're a woman, would it be better to have a small penis, or do you still want a hog?
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
You're a trans woman.
Well, I don't know, you're just a woman who has a penis, I guess.
A woman with a penis.
Because I don't know what their life is. I'm not going to assign what I think their gender should be to them.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to just look at their boobs and their penis all in one view, and I'll think it's up to them.
Yeah, it is up to them. Yeah, I guess if they want to have a big hog or a smaller hog, the woman.
I guess it depends on your lifestyle.
It does, I guess. I think it's better to have a smaller penis because you can wear more clothes. It's kind of like being thin as a model. You can kind of fit all the what's it called, the stock sizes or whatever on a runway shoot. And if you have a large penis, you probably can't wear a bunch of clothes. Like basically a whole bunch is out of possibility. Like you can't wear grey sweatpants. You can't wear pants that are like too loose and hug too tight because you're probably going to offend people. Or at least it'll be even like wearing Speedos. Like you do think if you have a huge penis and you're wearing Speedos at the beach and it's like wrapping around kind of like you're wearing a belt. I don't think you're allowed to. I don't think you're allowed to legally.
That's actually why I wear board shorts.
Okay, and that's why I could wear a G-string. That's kind of the difference we have there. But it's offensive.
I wear like a leaf, like from a, like Adam, but it's like from a bonsai. Yeah. It's from a bonsai plant. There we go. And that's why we get paid the big bucks.
Woo! Woo! We're here, dads.
So I was wondering, I sent you the numbers for the last episode that went up?
Yeah.
And that was a big number.
Yes.
And
I like the number that's on the ruler when I measure my penis. Small number. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if that had something to do with, Robin Thicke is in the media at the moment.
Oh, is he?
And the title of
with a Speedo on, and people don't really know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
What's Robin Thicke done?
What's her name? Emily Ratajkowski? Ratatouille?
I like to Ratajkowski, if you know what I mean. I'd like to Ratajkowski.
What about Emily Ratatouille? And she's just like a model. She's just like not even I don't even know what that would be actually. What would it
be? Emily Ratatouille. She's got a rat in her, and it's helping her kind of like do cocaine and be emotionless and put up with abuse from designers who are in the closet. And they're trying to lie to themselves like, no, I'm assaulting Emily Ratatouille here. I could not possibly look at her.
Emily Ratatouille. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Robin Thicke. Because the title of the episode was like Batman and Robin Thicke, wasn't it? And he's in the media because apparently he like grabbed her boob on the set of the Blurred Lines video.
And then he said, no, I'm Robin Ratatouille. I've got a mouse that does this. How about you put him in jail?
Like, that name pun doesn't work, sir. No, I literally do. I literally do.
And he said, no, that was Rancid Eddie. I've been listening to some Rancid.
Yeah. Had you heard of Rancid Eddie before I sent you that thing?
No, I don't think I had. Only kind of what they'd get up to on a Friday night.
Found it very interesting.
What for the listeners who don't know, apparently they sexually assaulted a woman with a boomerang, and then made a song about it, and then Triple J's Instagram posted it, saying "Good work, boys," and then Richard Kingsmill tried to do the same thing to a woman in his hotel room. And then he got in a little bit of trouble for doing that. And
did he?
Yeah, he was actually playing the song while he was doing it.
And they were like, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that, Richard. And he was like, no, I actually have a little rat in my hair. Imagine, what about like in Ratatouille? And he's just like cooking and everything is going fantastic. And then he's just in the kitchen with like a female chef. He's like, what are you doing, Ratatouille?
But what are you talking about? I'm French. That's what we do. It's a cultural thing. What if that was Rancid Eddie's excuse? It's like, what are you talking about? We're called Rancid Eddie. Because we have rats. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, we've got French rats in our kind of semi-dreadlocked beach hair.
So yeah, what did you? Oh wait, yeah. So the background of the whole thing is like this Australian band. They've kind of blown up from putting TikToks and little YouTube videos up, but they've kind of been called under question by some just by kind of like a, I don't know, what would you even call these people? Freedom fighters? Just
I guess, what is it? It's like bloggers. It's like music bloggers, isn't it? I think the girl was a music blogger.
The one that I sent you, that's my friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
And she's got a lot of Instagram followers. Jackson was basically trying to do a humble brag. He's like, yeah, no, people in big places. What? And she wasn't even talking about the situation. She was just a very successful music blogger. And I was like, okay, that's good to know. We went to school together.
Yeah, this band has some questionable lyrics in their songs, I guess.
But I guess they're called Rancid Eddie. They're not called Good Tasting Eddie, am I right?
Yeah.
And also, Rancid Eddie is a sexual maneuver where you put a boomerang inside a woman. And if she says anything, you say she's big. That's what they named themselves after, so I don't really know what people are up in on about.
Just trying to think how that could even be kind of employed. Like, oh, what did you get up to on the weekend?
I just did a few Rancid Eddies.
Did a couple Rancid Eddies. It's where you push a woman up that works at a venue up against a wall, engage in sexual activity involving a boomerang, and then blame it on a rat. Wouldn't it be good if sexual acts were that specific? You know what I mean?
And they're like, yeah, I kind of can understand a bit of it. But then the
rat it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And if someone tries to do the Rancid Eddie and they forget to blame the rat, they go to prison for sexual assault.
Yeah. The lawyer and everything standing there like, is he going to stick the landing? He's like, yeah, and then I did the boomerang. And then the lawyer's like, did you do anything else?
I think there was something else you did. I think there was something else you did at the end of it, wasn't there? Wasn't there, Wilson? No, that was probably it. No, I think, sorry, Your Honor, I think there may have been something he did at the end of it that may stop him from going to prison for 4 years.
Something to do with a rodent.
Rodent.
But like the judge is like, if the lawyer says anything that gets too close to the word, then it's kind of like disqualified. It becomes like a game of charades or something like that.
A bird, a Tweety bird, and he's like, yeah.
So basically, this band, their lyrics, they've got a couple lyrics like where they call
women boomerang holders.
Okay, so what we're actually referring to with the boomerang thing is they uploaded a photo where they're all like on a couch, kind of sitting on top of each other, and one of them just had like a boomerang and they were like licking it.
Yes.
But we can make that something that it's not. But it was definitely...
He said, I'm licking this Indigenous man's penis, because I assume they have boomerang-shaped penises.
It's like, I don't know, like, I don't think it's very far... Wait, let's paint the picture a little bit better. So they've just got some kind of lyrics that have been interpreted as misogynistic. And
they were holding and licking a boomerang.
You know, in one photo that they put out, and also they've like used like homophobic slurs in their comments, like they'll call someone a poof. Yes,
it was a very kind of Australian term. I mean,
it's outdated.
Yeah.
If I was hanging out with someone not in like I don't know, actually, even like in a comedic setting or whatever, if someone was to say that was around my age group, they'd have to be like probably like 45 plus or something like that for me to be like, I kind of understand.
Because I don't even think it's really like attached to any like homophobic kind of feelings. I guess the idea would just to be soft.
I definitely don't think they're using it in a malicious way.
Yeah.
It's in a ignorant way, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
But here's my problem with the whole thing is that they're coming under fire, and the music's pretty fantastic, and the controversy kind of makes it a little bit more hectic. Like they seem like these.
I literally started listening to them because of this controversy. I'm like, oh, they're pretty good. They kind of sound like Sticky Fingers.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think they're pretty good too. And it's like licking the boomerang. We can make it something that it's not, but we know what it is. We literally know what it is. Anyone that's attacking them right now for doing that in a photo knows what it is. And we're talking about like one of them just... I'll look around the room like...
Okay, Jackson's about to find a boomerang and he's going to lick it. Can anyone try to get video of this? Because we're going to try to keep attention on our podcast.
It's like, I can definitely see how that would happen and not even... I mean, I haven't looked into it further than that, but I don't think there's any connotations to it. It's just disheartening.
It also has a swastika-shaped boomerang, which people do kind of fail to really talk about. But I guess, just licking it, it doesn't even really seem... I think it's a last-minute thing, where they're taking a photo, they've got a boomerang nearby, and they're just going,
And then there's two kind of options there. So you've got the photo already, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's not even a thing. Or the second one is, oh no, you're doing that with that object there.
Yeah, to make fun of Indigenous people somehow, or to belittle their culture.
Well, if you think about it, I don't think that that's the case. I don't think they've done it to belittle the culture or whatever. I'm saying after the photo, they're either like, we put this up because it's fine. We don't even think about that being a problem, or
but
we don't.
With a C.
Sorry?
They do think about it with a C, if things started with a C.
No, they don't. They don't do that.
That's what they said. It's like, we don't think about this. And if by think, I mean it with a C instead of a TH. Yeah, they're not even thinking about it. They're just like, yeah, they've given it a quick overview and be like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this photo. It's cool.
Yeah, and just like, and then this is the thing that I kind of love when kind of artists do this, is like, oh, you've done that thing, that means X, Y, Z. And they go, no. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not the case. We're not.
Yeah, no. It's just a boomerang. There's no way on earth. Like, I think they even find it hard to comprehend a malicious angle for it. They're like, I don't even understand how you guys can think this is offensive.
Yeah, because people want to make mountains out of molehills in all these situations, and I don't know. It is tricky though, because I mean, it's like that expression, like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
So there's probably something there, but it's just a different way of life. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting one because it's just a photo. Or is it wrong to have a boomerang in your house if you're not Indigenous? It may be offensive to even have. I guess it's maybe if it was just on a seat or on a table, it would be different. I think the fact that I guess you could really reach as it alluding to a derogatory act, the act of like liking it. That's probably the only thing. And again, it's a reach. And I guess there's two things. One, they're not thinking anything of it. Like you as a person analyzing the situation, you could think, okay, they've just grabbed a boomerang and it's being fun. Or they've grabbed it because they're trying to send a message across. Like, hey, this is what we think of Indigenous culture, by the way. So, and listen to our new song. This is what we think of Indigenous culture. We think we should. I don't even know. Because that's the thing. You have to kind of, I would almost like them to run with the idea. Be like, oh, God. Okay, yeah. You guys got us. You got us. We're trying to call out our hatred of Indigenous people.
And they're like, wait, but there's a rat in your hair, right? And they're like, there's not. There's literally not a rat in our hair. This is how we feel about
This is how we actually feel. I wish I'd double down and be like, no, this is how we feel. Yeah, you're actually right. That's what we were trying to get across with it. You picked up on it. So, hey, that's just where we stand.
Oh my God. You know what? Can you get away with that in today's day and age? I can't wait for when the tables flip, and then that's what everyone wants almost. It's like,
yeah, that's exactly, oh, you guys hit the nail on the head. That's what I was trying to do. Like, I can't stand this culture. I think that's a joke. And that's what I was meaning by licking it.
I didn't just look around. I didn't look around and see an object and just kind of, we happen to take a photo like that. I brought that. I stopped at a shop.
I stole it. Yeah.
I stopped at the shop on the way over here to get that. I actually also brought, I also purchased a flag and a box of matches. But we didn't end up having enough like battery in the camera. So that would have to do. I'd just have to.
Yeah, that video might be coming out later. However, I thought this was, we're thinking we're either going to burn an Indigenous flag, the Aboriginal flag, or I was going to do the boomerang thing. And we thought, I think we'll get more of a message across with the licking of the boomerang. The flag, I don't know if it's probably a little bit more nuanced. People wouldn't really pick up on what we're trying to do with burning the Indigenous flag. But licking the boomerang, we thought would be a lot more powerful. We thought we'd kind of get more outrage. We thought that was probably the better angle, the more controversial angle to go. So we went with the boomerang.
Yeah. I mean,
they do the same with the lyrics. It's like, we hate women. That's what we mean.
Because so they've got one song. I've just got the lyrics up here.
One song is about a Mexican woman.
It's like, and a thrust of his dick while all along that she thinks she's in love with him. But it's all an act. She's just a cum rag for his ball bag. And it's so sad. Yeah, it's so sad. We know what he's saying there.
Yeah, because and I think he even really went in depth of explaining the context, because he's saying, oh, this is from the point of view of my girlfriend, like a friend I have who was in a bad relationship and she felt like this. She felt she was being used. And he's just using kind of slang.
And it rhymes.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, it rhymes. He's writing a song and it's like, you know what else? I actually kind of, the liberation of it. Oh, not the liberation, the freeness in the way that those lyrics are kind of written is liberating as a creative to see.
In terms of like all the slang and stuff like that.
In terms of, I'm just going to remove kind of the pressure, the outside pressure of what's kind of okay and what's not okay, and just kind of write a song that's very emotive. And I found that like pretty sick, but it's just annoying how much of a stretch it is. And then what's the other song is like, I want to punch some cunt, then fuck some slut, then pass face down in the rain.
Yeah. And he's basically, he said in the Facebook or the Instagram story, he's like, yeah, I'm talking about Lebanese guys going to the Ivy. What I'm talking about. If you find that offensive, I'm talking about that culture specifically. So that's the thing. He's talking about the things he sees on a Friday night. He's talking about club culture. This is his like excuse. And it's great. It's kind of like, it's like I don't know if he partakes in it so much, but you could use the example of like Kendrick Lamar just rapping about what he sees. This guy's rapping about what he sees on a Friday, Saturday night clubbing. That's the attitude of probably 90% of men out there.
And it's just annoying to be like, no, I'm going to stifle that because I don't even understand the thought process. Well, I guess I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm doing it now to the person that shared that. It's just like, I guess they see it as harmful in the same way that I see it as harmful what this person's doing. Does that make sense? Like the reason that this person shared all this on their Instagram story is they saw that and they're like, I think this is wrong.
Yes. And he's trying to kind of save himself. He's like, hey, it's not me talking from firsthand experience. I'm talking about the things that you see when you go out. He could be saving himself, but it's pretty like obvious. It's part of being creative. It's not really being a journalist. And I feel this may be the disconnect where journalists listening to an album are kind of taking it at like face value. Okay, he must be doing this thing that he's talking about. Whereas like a songwriter can be talking about anything. Like you could probably, if a journalist was to listen to a Kendrick Lamar song, they'll be like, why isn't this guy in prison? He's talking about literally robbing people right now. He's talking about an experience of a police officer assaulting like a teenage girl. He's being poetic. Yeah. He's being a musician. He's talking about stories. I'm sure you could do the same thing with, like I can imagine a music journalist being like, why isn't Johnny Cash in prison? Like when he had Folsom Prison Blues. You literally just said he shot a man in Reno. Can we arrest this man just to watch him die? Yeah. But that's the thing where it's a big disconnect between being a journalist and being a musician. And I feel...
that's very interesting.
Journalists that kind of pick up on this thing, especially making more sense to us, like going over in comedy. when you do a joke on stage, you're not saying I believe this thing wholeheartedly. You're not saying I do this thing. You're talking about an idea.
It's almost grabbing. Yeah, absolutely. It's almost grabbing those ideas. It's like some people are at the microscopic kind of angle, picking apart these things and whatever. And I guess
the angle of the size of your penis.
Right. And then you've got kind of like something like comedy, especially something like anti-comedy, where it's like that's taking a step further back from that microscopic. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're looking at that pattern of thought and kind of bending it. And that's where you have irony and stuff like that. Yeah. And nuance, because you can't understand that when you are too close to it. You can't see the forest from the trees kind of thing. Yeah. And then, maybe that's it. Is kind of, I remember even talking to a friend who was saying, we were talking about an artist when I was in high school, and they were like, because I've got all these songs about like I love pussy and stuff like that. That's kind of like that angle. And
wait, you kind of being like anti-music, like talking, like making a joke or doing something the opposite?
No. I'm just being like, so my friend would be like, oh yeah, no, he's got a girlfriend, da 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 da. And I'd be like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, listen to his music. Like,
oh.
And it's like, but they're just songs. You know what I mean? Like you could write a song 5 years ago and put it out today. Mm. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy.
Even like Pusha T, 2 Chainz, like all these, J. Cole, these guys are just talking about going to clubs, sleeping with multiple women, in relationship with this girl, relationship with that girl, like just anything they want. They're completely free single men in their music, but in reality, they all have wives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we all have wives. We don't do any of this stuff. We're just kind of being artists.
Mm. Yeah. Exactly.
So the same thing, like this guy is like, oh yeah, he must have a girlfriend. Like, listen to his music. No, he's just being.
He's just saying whatever he wants to say. Yeah, people can just say, what about like artists have writers?
Yeah.
Or you might not even be the person writing the lyrics in your band.
Mm.
But you've got the right voice for that song or whatever.
Of course.
And
maybe I'm thinking more and more, because I think we've talked about this, autism is a progression in civilization. It just makes sense for people to become more autistic to be able to live and deal with.
Oh no, but he said that.
And that's what's happening. I feel more and more of these autistic journalists are taking art literally.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, he said he did this. Be like, no, he's talking about a character that did this. What do you mean? He said this though.
Mm.
And I feel that probably may be happening more and more. That happens a lot with jokes, where it's like, wait, there's nothing funny about this though. And it's like, no, it's a layered thing because they're trying to get across an idea that obviously it's bad, and they're wanting to double down on how bad it is.
You know, I feel
there's so many layers to being creative or trying to get a message across.
I was having a conversation with a friend about Theo Von, the comedian. So, like, if anyone's not familiar with this dude, he's just like very like outlandish in the way that he talks, kind of thing. Like, he can just be telling a story from the past and just be like, yeah, man, there used to be this guy down at the football oval, and
throw in a random name. He was like, his name was Tunkinus Blastic.
Yeah. And old Tunkinus would give you $10 for every time. You just have to stand 40 yards away from him and look at his butthole. He masturbating or anything like that. It wasn't like a sexual kind of thing. It'd be more like It'd be more like art, be more like looking at the Mona Lisa smile.
Yes.
And he'd give you $15. And he'd be like, God damn, I nearly won $200 off that guy. Like,
yeah. And it's just such a funny, silly story. Like, it's so obvious. And as soon as you kind of get what he's doing, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It shows, like, demonstrating his creativity in a way. It's almost like a flex and a demonstration of, hey, look how creative I am. Look how funny I am. On the spot, I can create this universe and can create this thing.
But it's weird. Like, I was talking to my friend about it, like, are they true? And there's kind of like what do you call it? Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
So when you watch someone perform like Theo and he's like blatantly lying, but it's mixed in with the truth. And the truth aspects are, I'm watching a man speak.
Yeah.
That's real. You know what I mean? It's not written. It's not anything like that. He's just talking. But then there's the lie aspect, which is exaggeration, just pulling these facts and everything like that. So you watch it and
it's funny as well. Like, I feel a huge element to it is almost like a wordplay thing, where it's like, let's come up with a funny name. Let's come up with a word that sounds funny. Like, you like to sparkle. Like, there's so many layers to why that stuff's funny.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I was talking to my friend about it. Like, is he lying? And I know that he is. You know what I mean? But when you're watching it, it's kind of like this mix of both these things. Like, is some of it true? Da 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 da. And it's like, he's just talking. He's just making shit up. There's no. Yeah, that's. I don't know.
Try to take it literally. There's layers, because it's for it to be funny in your head. You're imagining all these scenarios, and that's why it's so funny, because you're doing this imagination. It's like, oh, that's so funny. There's a guy called like Tunkinus Williams, and he's doing this. Like, for that to happen is such a funny thing, because it's so absurd. And to actually think it's happening, to be kind of more autistic about it, you would just be sitting there being like so confused. You would be really confused and worried.
Right.
And you'd be thinking about all these illegal things and how these things aren't true. And it's like, Tunkinus Scott, wait, why would he do that? Why would an 80-year-old man be doing that? That doesn't make sense. And I feel that's how a lot of people can kind of be looking at the world. Because what did your friend think, like, about Theo?
I think he's more like a fan of comedy and art rather than someone that would write or anything like that. So I think he's pretty sold that it's just like true. Like, it kind of brought up, like, he's got the weirdest life. This guy, Theo, he has the weirdest life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all just like, it's funny. It's funny, like, to have... Come again?
He didn't understand it at all. He doesn't see that Theo's lying.
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think he looked at it and was like, this guy's lying.
Right. Maybe because it is right on that. Like, another comedian, I think you may have watched a little bit, it's like William Montgomery from Kill Tony.
Yeah.
He would do something like that, but he would kind of... It'd be one step beyond Theo, where it's kind of silly, where he would kind of like say, my Filipino wife and I broke up. And then he would talk about going to the shop and seeing a Filipino guy. And then at the end, he would talk about hating this Filipino guy again. And it's so silly that you almost can't follow it. It's impossible to. If you try to, you would actually be spinning in a circle.
Right, yeah.
It's like when he had this Filipino wife, and then he hated this Filipino man, and then him and his Filipino wife robbed a bank, and it would just be silly. But I think with Theo, it's just that step easier to take it literally. you have someone like William Montgomery that's absolutely unreal
Yeah.
because you talk about having a girlfriend in 1 second and then not having a girlfriend and then having a different girlfriend or killing someone. And I feel that's easy to be like, oh, okay, he's joking. But I think with Theo, he does it so well and he's right on that line that you could probably, both parties, like the people who take it literally be like, oh, this guy's living such a crazy life. I love Theo. And then you've got the other side that are like, he's hilarious. This guy's so creative.
That just reminded me even of like, we were in a room full of comics. Where was it? At, bloody, I don't know. I had that room where you can shout out.
Oh, yes.
And I had that joke. I said like, I told my girlfriend I prefer the natural look.
Oh yes, yeah, I think I remember.
Which is a bad move because she's a drag queen.
Yeah.
And then later on, I did what? My girlfriend is something else.
Yeah.
What even is the joke? I don't know. My girlfriend is a koala or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they yelled out. Someone yelled out a comic. Was like, I thought they were a drag queen. Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck do you think is going on right now? You know what I mean? When I made a joke about fucking like, I don't know, like child porn.
Yes.
What do they think is going on? I'm just up there telling them about my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's a comic. So no wonder an audience might think like that. They don't know any better.
But again, there is a big trend of, I think we're even talking about it as different genres of comedy. You do have people who think that Theo Von's stories are real and go to pursue comedy. And the comedy, like they talk about, is completely different. It's like, I think you're like using the example of music.
Yeah.
You could probably, let's say if you're a very structured pop musician, and then you go and listen to like some experimental metal, you'd be like, wait, what's happening here? Why is the song going backwards, or why is he repeating this thing? Or it's harder to comprehend when that just is genre. You'd be like, I don't really get why this guy's structuring it so strange. Like this is just kind of repeated. I thought I just heard this thing. Or it's like, why is this so distorted? Like he's messing up here. Hey, buddy, you've really distorted the guitar on this. You might want to fix that. You could find probably a pop musician who would comment that on an experimental metal album. He'd be like, yeah, dude's all right, got some good ideas, but he's really distorted like the guitar too much.
I mean, I find that as well when there's like talking to someone and saying, oh no, I like Tame Impala more than I like Katy Perry. And it's oh, okay, that's interesting. Why? And they're like, oh, I just like that Tame Impala writes their own songs.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's like, that's the narrative. But you have this woman in there and it's Pandora's box after that. All we know is that she sung the song. All we know is that Tame Impala did that. And then from there, everything else is in Pandora's box. We don't know the actuality of how any of it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like people almost look for reasons to kind of discredit the thing they already don't like.
Of course. It's like with hip hop. It happened when more of like the mumble rap trap music started coming out.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They're not talking about anything. They're just mumbling. Like I like listening to, you know what I mean? When rappers actually had a message. Like I listened to like Tupac. I listened to Nas. Yeah, then when rappers actually had a message, not any of this little pump garbage.
Yeah.
What's he talking about? He's just popping Molly and driving cars and doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're autistic and they can't understand that I mean, no, I wouldn't even say it's autism. I feel it's just ignorance. Someone who doesn't understand that there can be multiple subgenres, especially in something like hip hop, which is somewhat of like a new genre.
Yeah.
I feel it is hard for someone who grew up in the 90s to really even wrap their head around. Because like, oh no, I've been this hip hop. It's like been one way for such a long period of time, and then it started changing. I could kind of get my head around the changes that happened in the early 2000s with the bling bling era. But now I can't understand this because I'm like 40 years old now.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is
genre as well. Like subgenres are a hard thing to wrap your head around.
I think the difference is just kind of looking at a scenario, and they definitely are difficult to wrap your head around. But I think the thing is people are kind of afraid of what they don't know most of the time.
Yes.
And the ability to kind of, maybe it's not even ability, maybe it's just a natural thing that you are interested like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? To kind of, because I know anytime anyone plants an idea in my head, there's that little seedling of self-doubt, which normally grows into like something, like a great thing.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's kind of my natural disposition to argue with someone. But whenever that happens, I'll also can't help but kind of look into it and grow.
Right.
It's the difference between some people who can like pull up a thing and be like, I hate that.
Yeah. And then could literally like turn their back on it and be like, yeah, no, I hate it. No, not for me. Sorry.
Well, you and
they won't even look later.
Yeah, 100%. You and I have talked about it before, just kind of like, even it's like a Jay-Z quote where he's like, great art is polarizing. No matter what, if you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not offensive or anything like that. You almost want it to be offensive.
Yeah. 100%.
And shake people up, because then it's like something you can rally behind, because it's like, oh, this is a cause. This isn't just another thing that we've had. You know what I mean? Like Dua Lipa, like Britney Spears and Dua Lipa are the same thing.
Yeah.
But then like
even like someone like, I guess, Cupcake.
Oh, what does Cupcake have?
She's just kind of like very, actually, no, it probably has happened before. I'm trying to think, maybe like Sophie or a lot of these very big internet-y pop stars.
Right.
And their music's so, it's a lot more challenging. It's basically the idea that for kids to really get on board with something, or XXXTentacion back in the day, you want the generation before you to kind of not get it and be thinking it's terrible or be kind of scared of it. Mm-hmm. I feel that's necessary. Like when you're a 14-year-old kid, you love this band or you love this artist, and then you play it for your parents, and then they're like, oh, this is cool, this is groovy. I like this guy. What's his name? What's their name? The kid can't really get attached to it anymore. It's almost like it's completely necessary for the younger generation to create art and music that the older generation can't understand. It's so important. There needs to be a whole bunch of slang. There needs to be a whole bunch of sounds and kind of styles and approaches to the music that the generation before you just wouldn't know. Like even I've been coming down the rabbit hole of a lot of these, you can't even call them more like experimental, like TikTok artists. And it's very kind of rooted in like electronic music and very distorted and very in that area of like glitch hop and very internet-y. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is challenging. This is something that my parents would not even be able to wrap their head around.
Yeah.
Because it's so rooted in internet culture and like Zoomer culture that only young people would know about. Yeah, this is something so important about that to be challenging. I think for a progression of society. That's when it's kind of scary when when there's been like a long period of time where music stayed the same, or artists completely mimicking another genre and not doing anything different, or not expanding upon something.
Yeah, and it's kind of like keeping some fundamentals that made it what it was before, but changing it enough so it's kind of, kind of unrecognizable.
Yes.
But then you can, because that's always what, like if it's on the radio or something, and the thing that catches my ear is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like from my understanding of how to play music and what it should be, that shouldn't have happened like that.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you go back or something, and it's crazy. It happens like not very often at all. But then when it does, that's like a trademark of a great artist, I think.
Yes, completely. And you can kind of be like, oh, wait, whoa.
Exactly, yeah.
And even like, it happens to anyone, any young person, they hear it, they're like, okay, I haven't heard this before. What's going on here? And you get it. I think if you're young enough, or if you're kind of with it enough, you get it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get this. I absolutely love this. And I feel this is so important.
Yeah.
And as well, people, but I think try not to drift too far away. I can't even remember what we started on with this conversation, but I think it was more taking music literally.
Yeah.
And then you got this thing.
That's hilarious to think about, actually. What I swear I had something else that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, but that's going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's right. My girlfriend's been watching The Biggest Loser.
Okay, it's just a photo of you on the screen. That'll be really good.
Actually, before we get into this, I'm going to chuck a quick Wazzy.
Too easy.
Do you have anything you want to tell the fans in that time?
I'll keep the people entertained.
All right, nice. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
A little thing, too easy. Okay, so it's your boy. So yeah, who here has been watching that Squid Game show? How about instead of, it's pretty interesting, that Squid Game show, am I right? How about Quid Game? And it's a bunch of British people, and they're all captured to play for £1 million. And it's called Quid Game. So what, in game one, you must survive a week without brushing or cleaning your teeth. It's saying, oh, sir, what do we do? All 400 contestants have never cleaned their teeth before. They've all passed. And then round 2, they have to pronounce Tuesday correctly.
What are you talking about?
What was the last one? Spending an hour not drinking tea, and they all die. But I was talking about Squid Game. Have you watched it?
Yeah, have you seen it?
Yes.
It's pretty cool. I really like kind of watching.
Have you finished it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sick.
Have you finished it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool watching just that thing made. It's not Hollywoodized, or however you pronounce it. Just cool. I really like that.
It was like, Koreans are killing the game. Like, it's one of the best things I've ever watched. It really just caught me. I got so invested quickly. It's just, again, a big thing I've really been passionate about is just creativity in TV and movies. Just the idea, I think it's important to stop the remakes. It's really important to stop the remakes and actually come out with original ideas. And it really gets on my nerves when they have so many Fast and the Furious, or they're kind of like, oh, how about we remake this show, or how about we remake that show?
I think that's something about like Breaking Bad, for instance. And then, have you seen Better Call Saul?
No, I haven't seen Better Call Saul.
Yeah, so I'm like halfway through the 2nd season now. And I think they're about to come out with the 6th season. But the way this guy tells stories, Vince Gilligan, I think his name is, the director, it's just crazy. it's just crazy. Like, I want him to be teaching people how to make a unique show. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very interesting, the idea of looking at someone and thinking, all right, don't copy them, but don't copy their outcome, copy their input almost, if you know what I mean, their process.
Interesting.
Which is like, just find a new way to make something.
Yeah, and it's so important, not just doing a remake of a show that was around in the 80s and just having a new cast full of but I guess it's just, you've got these ideas where it's like going for the money grab, where it's like, oh, okay, anyone can kind of pick up on this because it's been done before and it's with familiar actors that you guys all know. And then there's taking the risk, where it's like, hey, here's a really new, innovative, original idea with a cast that you've never heard of. That's not even in English.
Yeah.
And you've got those two, and if it's good enough, it will be the best thing ever. Whereas, I don't even know, I guess with the other one, if you were to do, what do they even do? Like, I'm trying to think of a remake that's come out recently. I can't even think of one right now. But if they were to do like Fast and the Furious, the TV show, and they put it out on Netflix, it would probably sell a crazy amount, but you know it's going to be safe. But then you've got something like Squid Game. I think one is going to result in the progression of a society. The other one's going to kind of result in people being more stagnant and dumbing people down. Squid Game's, honestly, I feel, opened up the minds of the world, like in television, just coming out, being number one in every single country in the world. Like, it's so important. For that to change, like, again, you might have the next thing that comes out of South America. And now you find all these South American directors to be like, oh, okay, now we can do this. And then you find like production studios in Africa. It's like, oh, well, Squid Game did this. How about we come try and put out our thing? Whereas if it was just Fast and the Furious, that was the number one seller. Fast and the Furious, the series with the same cast, you probably wouldn't even want to try because you'd be like, oh, yeah, no, nothing's selling unless you've got The Rock in it.
Well, it's Hollywood. That's all it is. And like, even give an independent filmmaker in Australia a budget and whatever. But the thing is, I think I was watching, it was like a little Facebook clip of Iggy Azalea speaking about her new album.
I watched this maybe last night, where she said she couldn't get anyone to feature.
Yeah, and she's like, because she's like, the thing is, having people feature on it would have been a good thing because they could have helped me. But the thing is, not getting that, now I can help other people grow their platform.
I do think with that Iggy Azalea thing, it's a nice little way to deal with no one wanting to work with you. She's like, no, it's actually better that I don't have all these big features. I didn't want them anyway.
No, she knew she was getting snubbed. She wasn't saying... Yeah. She knew that... She was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're too busy like washing their hair that day to come and do a verse on my thing. But yeah, I mean that's the reality of the situation is if you're making this thing, you can't let it flop like that. If I was making a film and I could get Leonardo DiCaprio in it, of course, because I don't know how to make movies, but if Leonardo DiCaprio's in it, then it's fucking gonna put asses in seats. You know what I mean? And then I get to make more. And I think that's the thing is people often go for that safe thing.
Because I guess, if you've kind of got the option right now, it probably makes sense if you're at a higher level. Where it's like you're at a higher level, you know that you can do a song with Justin Bieber and it has a lot more chance of going to number one compared to doing a song with someone from Ulladulla. Like a new up-and-coming dude that you saw busking, who you think's way more talented than Justin Bieber, but no one's heard of this person. It's a gamble at the end of the day. The Justin Bieber song's going to definitely take you to number one. The other one could probably take you absolutely nowhere, or it could take you potentially, like, best case scenario, to number one.
Well, that's the other interesting thing as well, probably, is that there's multiple things that are the same in these movies. So you're probably like the same studio, you got the same directors, you're hiring the same crew staff, you're shooting in the same locations, you're getting the same kind of people to edit it, the same actors, da-da-da-da-da. I think it's when you get some of those elements and pull them into a new space. You know what I mean? It's kind of like like having a tree in the wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the forest, just makes sense. But then when you have a house plant inside a house, that's what's so nice about it, is the displacement. This isn't a natural environment we've created, but we've pulled that thing in here. And I think that's the same thing if you get who's a good example? Like if you can get people to work in a different way than that. But yeah, then you have like a fucking Fast and the Furious, and it's the same thing again. Literally every element of it, exactly the same.
You know what's going to happen? People are going to buy into it, and you got like a guaranteed, let's say, $50 billion or something.
Yeah.
But I guess with the other one, the 50 billion kind of on the table, but the chances of getting it are a lot lower. Like you're literally gonna gamble.
Yeah, we were saying just before, like great art is polarizing, and when you've got 3 directors and they all make a movie, and the one that's gonna be the next one is the one that gets the best critic ratings and the one that gets most people at the box office.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I want to have a good career, so I'm going to continue getting Justin Bieber on my song.
Of course. And it's like, I don't really, how are you going financially is another question. How much do you believe in the art? I guess you've got the person that's like, hey, I've just bought a $30 million house. Yeah. And there've been kind of major issues with a fire. I need money. So we better make this next Fast and the Furious because I need to pay this off. It's like the dudes from The Matrix. I think they were coming out with the next movie because they ran out of money. If they had been kind of wise with their investments, they could probably be like, hey, let's do something better. Let's have something. We came up with The Matrix. We're 2 guys that came up with The Matrix. Let's come up with something similar to that, like, but in a different universe. Let's come up with a different universe. But we're about to be living on the streets. So let's make Matrix 3 or Matrix 4. I don't even know what they're up to.
I guess there's that. There's also the thing of like movie companies, subsidiaries or whatever you call them. Right. So say you've purchased the intellectual property and you own the Ninja Turtles. And then you're like looking around and you're like, well, for us to compete with that, for us to compete with Fast and the Furious so that we have enough money to continue making movies, we have to make another Ninja Turtles movie.
Like, yes, Spider-Man, why they're seeing, well, I can't understand why there's a new Spider-Man every single year.
I love Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah. Do you like the Avengers and stuff like that?
Yeah, I love the comic books and I love the movies.
Yeah, I can't stand them. I just see them as a cash grab. Then again, I don't like comics because I have sex with women. That's usually a big thing that changes when you start doing that. But yeah, number one, I can't stand that. I think that genre is all right if it's innovative enough. But when I see a lot of these Avengers movies and it's just kind of like the next one and the next one and the next one, it's just the same cast doing different things. It just kind of makes me lose a bit of hope. But then I see something like a Squid Game or Train to Busan or something like that, and it kind of opens up my mind.
Well, I want both. I want the Foo Fighters, you know, where I can go to the biggest arena that is in the city.
Yeah.
Or that's in the state. The biggest arena that's in the state, and sing these songs with like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And then I want to go to the little bar up the road and watch these New South Wales play with like 70 people in the room. Do you know what I mean? Like we do live in a world where you can have both.
That's true. That's true. I guess when it's almost like an artistic integrity when that kind of starts to be questioned. That's when I almost turn my back on it.
Yeah.
Like, let's say if the Foo Fighters were coming out with like too many albums.
Well, they're not producing good music in my opinion at the moment.
Right. Because I'm not even really even following the Foo Fighters. Have they been consistently releasing like yearly or something like that?
Yeah, probably once every 2 years. But the thing is, I mean, that's kind of a necessity so they can go on tour and whatever and to remain relevant.
Right. So they are kind of like the Avengers of bands. Where it's like, yeah, we're great. Everyone loves us. They're going to probably come to, they're going to see the next concert or whatever. But I don't even know. I haven't really watched the Avengers. But I think they allude to previous movies and they're kind of, it's a whole thing to get caught up in, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll have, you can watch any of them pretty much independently. They're just better to watch them together. It's like, even with the comic books at the moment. Oh yeah, I just downloaded like an app to read. It's like a subscription-based app to watch all the comics.
Oh wow!
I won't get too far into it or whatever, but it's like they have like so many different comic book runs at the same time. So you'll have like the Amazing Spider-Man, you'll have Avengers, you'll have X-Men, you'll have a separate Wolverine one, you'll have Captain America, you'll have like She-Hulk, and they're all going at the same time. But you can have one little event that happens over here that like shatters across all of them. And that kind of thing. It's like world building better than anything. It's like better than Harry Potter, better than Lord of the Rings, better than Star Wars. And that's just my unique type of autism, I guess. So yes, I love it.
The world building with the Avengers just seems too obviously like a money grab. Where it's like you've got these huge superheroes that have had their movies and they've had their story told. And I don't really understand what the purpose of bringing them all together is. It just feels a bit, disingenuous. Like, is this kind of something that kind of feels off about it. Like, again, when you've got the idea of Harry Potter, okay, you've got this world here, this is brand new, and let's have however many movies, like 7 movies within this world.
Yeah.
But I guess with the Avengers, it's like, hey, we've had the world of the Hulk, and that's had how many movies? 4 movies. And then I guess you've got Iron Man, and that's had this many movies, and that many movies with this superhero and that one. And basically all combined, we probably had like 50 movies. And now let's make 50 movies with the characters of that 50 movies together. It just seemed too over the top, I think.
Well, the thing is, you're watching each one of these shows and movies and whatever is a small window into this world. And then, so you've got, we shouldn't spend too much time on this. We can move on after I make my point and convince you. No. We'll move on after this, but it's like, so you've got, say, the events kind of cause each other. So you've got like this Iron Man movie, and you see why he gets to thinking the way he does, and then there's like the Avengers 2, and what happens is, like, previously before that, there's like aliens that come down, they have to like fight them off, and then Tony Stark gets really paranoid about that happening again. So because of that, it kind of like pushes his character further into moral questionability. He develops like an artificial intelligence to protect the world, and it ends up going bad and coming back at them. You see his character kind of get more psychologically fucked up as they go along, and the ripple effects of that, the ripple effects on all the other characters. I think That's why I like it, because it kind of continues and keeps going, and little things kind of build up and changes dynamics. And
Yeah, I do appreciate like the storytelling and everything like that. But in terms of just creativity, how about it's a new superhero or a new kind of concept rather than just kind of going back and like milking the same cow again? Because I guess you can technically do it forever. That's the only thing that I think gets on my nerves. I think it's great kind of for... Actually, I don't think it's great. I don't think it's great, even for kids. Like, I just think it's so... It's almost creating this generation where you can just... I don't even know. It's... Where you can probably... What is it? It's almost like a monopoly. It's an example of a real monopoly. Where it's like, hey, you just got these... And then in the future, you can probably have 3 movies. There'll only be The Fast and the Furious. There'll only be Spider-Man, and then it'll only be the Avengers. And it's almost setting it up for this idea. Sure, there's going to be the smaller movies and stuff like that, but the 3 movies that are dominating the cinemas, dominating Hollywood at the end of the day, there are only 3 movies that do it. And they're up to Fast and the Furious 80, the Avengers 200, and there's another Spider-Man coming out next year, and it's now Michael B. Jordan or someone's Spider-Man, or Timothy Chalamet's Spider-Man. It's just kind of annoying. Like, I remember when I was a kid, just the movies that were #1 at the box office, you never knew what it was going to be. It was always a surprise. And you were like, oh my gosh, what's this? It's like, oh, whoa, what's that? It's a completely different thing. And I think nowadays you just, oh, Spider-Man's doing this now. Oh, the Fast and Furious guys are going here. Or the Avengers are they got another one coming out. Like, I appreciate it with like the writing, but in terms of like being exciting and me to kind of feel, oh, what's going to happen next. I don't like being able to know or predict.
Who is... it's tricky because it's like, you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get these characters that... And I guess the thing about like them having Spider-Man like come back, we should really get off this. This is probably...
But for the listeners, we're going to continue. We're going to go another hour on just comic books, just this idea. So we are literally going to keep going until I prove Jackson wrong, until he agrees with me.
You've got like the Spider-Man getting rebooted, right?
Yeah.
So originally they did that Spider-Man run with Tobey Maguire, and then that director left or something. They ended up rebooting it, and they did like a different version, which is like a different...
How about doing a Spider-Man with Rancid Eddie? And it's all of the boys, they're Spider-Man, and they're going to, they're assaulting women.
What about Rancid getting heady?
It's funny because I went through my head and I was like, no, I'm not going to say that. That's...
I've been waiting for it to come up organically the whole episode so that it can be the episode title.
How about Rancid Eddie Spider-Man, instead of the web, they throw boomerangs at the bad guy.
Yeah, we should.
How about just a superhero called Rancid Eddie? And it's just a guy who throws boomerangs and he's misogynistic. See, this is where creativity comes in. This isn't the Avengers. It's a new guy. It's an Australian kind of singer that kind of copies Sticky Fingers. And there's this one guy called Rancid Eddie, and he throws boomerangs at women and then he takes advantage of them.
That's pretty good.
And you don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy.
Yeah, anyway, we'll move on from this.
No, we're not going to move it. We're going to go straight back. Bring the Spider-Man angle. What's the Spider-Man angle?
I guess, I just think it's kind of like playing the guitar, right? Like, and it's like limited because it is a guitar, but then it's kind of like finding new and interesting ways to kind of do that. So that's the superhero genre. And then you're finding new and interesting ways to kind of play that. I guess what you're after is a completely different genre.
No, even literally, like I know it was a joke, but just there's a new movie, a guy called Rancid Eddie, and he's a completely different superhero. He's got his own universe. He's literally from Sydney, Australia.
That sounds great, and I mean, I want that, but I also want this, because this
that needs to go. We've had it's
no, it doesn't.
Like it's had it's done a great job. It can go forever, and I feel that just monopoly of the market that does get on my nerves sometimes.
Right.
I want you could have it even be the same guy, Taika Waititi or whatever. I don't even know who's behind it. You have like the same director, and he just creates a different universe, maybe with some different actors.
You know what we need to do?
Yeah.
We need to get like Robert Downey Jr. like licking a boomerang or something. That's how we can take that. That's how we can take this whole thing down.
I think we might be able to do it if we can cancel every single actor who's in the Avengers movies and the Spider-Man movies and the Fast and the Furious movies. We might be all right. Because then there'll be nothing else. It'll be like, hey, there's no movies that are completely monopolizing the market. There has to be a creative person. Even just like, I hate the idea of just money grabs. Like, I know what's going to happen. I was thinking about the universe of Squid Game. It's going to be Squid Game US with Kevin Hart, The Rock's the bad guy, and Miley Cyrus is that kind of moody model girl. But you know, like that can happen. If they did Squid Game and Kevin Hart's like, damn, they're shooting people, it would just and then The Rock's just going there. They face up in the final battle, and they're doing kind of like hopscotch or something silly. You know it's going to make money.
Yeah.
And you know everyone's going to watch it, and potentially it's going to be bigger than Squid Game. And that's the world that you want. The world that I want is to have something completely different.
So, in other news...
I want to know, I'm going to look up when the next Avengers movie's coming out. When's it coming out?
I can tell you. I can tell you right now.
Okay, yeah, when?
So...
For the listeners, we're going to be on this for the next hour.
So my girlfriend was watching The Biggest Loser the other day. And
there was a video of you watching the Avengers. Like, please watch something else. We can't continue this.
So it was like on The Biggest Loser, it was like an episode where they were beginning to get thinner. Yeah. So they did like a makeover on all of them and just put them in new clothes and kind of did their hair. So they could like...
And they were like, hey, this is The Biggest Loser, but we've got the Avengers in it now. So they're losing weight, but also it's going to show why if they lose weight, it's going to help Robert Downey Jr. To be more on track with saving the world. Anyway, okay, yeah, no, go ahead. Losing weight, they'd have to dress up.
Oh wow, these are some fat guys here. That's my Robert Downey Jr. impression.
How about Robert going down on me, Jr.?
That's pretty good.
There we go.
Yeah, so they're like getting the makeovers.
Yeah.
And there's one person and they put like the clothes on them. Yeah. And the person like starts crying and whatever, looking in the mirror. And they're like, the person dressing them.
So culturally insensitive.
The person dressing them is like a real like snarky kind of dude. He's like,
say the word.
He's like wearing
Rancid Eddie would use.
He's like wearing a suit and he's like dressing them up and whatever. They all look terrible. They're terrible clothes. Terrible. But the guy is like crying. He's like, "What are you crying about?"
They're making another event. They won't stop.
They're like, the person's like, "Oh, they're crying," and they're like, "That wouldn't have looked that good 40 pounds ago? And they're like, no, it wouldn't have. That really wouldn't have looked that good 40 pounds ago. And then the next person walks in who's like twice that person's size. Just dress them up. And they're like, you look fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're lying. You're either lying to one of them or both of them.
I guess it's everyone's journey. I guess it's on that person that looks better than it would have.
But they didn't know that person. They just knew. They're just this person putting clothes on them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
they just kept on getting fatter and fatter, and that guy just has to keep on kind of lying to himself. He's like, it doesn't look good. Okay, I'd be silly to say it looks good, and it's like a 280 kilogram person. I'd be lying if I said it looks good, but hey, I've done my best.
They walk out, and the guy's just like.
He walks out as just exhibit.
There was a woman that was getting dressed at the time, and the guy was like, I want to show her sophistication, yet a fun side to her. And she just came out like wearing jeans and wearing a t-shirt. And I was just like, what the fuck? This guy's terrible.
Who's the designer?
I don't even know who this guy is. I think Amy mentioned another show that he was on, but I don't remember.
But yeah.
What else? Yeah. It's just funny. It's a funny concept, that show. But it's quite good. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's like inspiring and whatever.
I've realised it. You're a big fan of things that have gone too long. The Biggest Loser makes
That's why I love my penis.
Hey! And that's why my penis is very quick. Very quick, and it's not around long. It's probably just one. Very short. It's amazing for one premiere.
I was just going to ask, is there anything else you want to go over? Because we're probably at time. Or just over.
Yeah, I think we must be at time.
Damn, I had a few things, but I don't know where they've gone.
What is it? I've got a whole idea of like, hopefully it will happen soon, but like Sausage Boys merch. I love the idea of those Thai restaurant puns.
Yeah.
And just the whole idea that a whole shop, a whole chain, or not even a chain, one restaurant's based off a pun. So I wanted to have like a big variety of different Thai restaurant shirts. It will be like the various like font, the name, and kind of like a little picture.
What ideas? Yeah.
First one was called Cut Tie with Her. Cut Tie with Her.
Yeah.
And it'll be like the restaurant. There'll probably be some guy with a mistress, and then the wife, like the shadows in the background, and the mistress or whatever's kind of like talking to him.
That's good.
Second one was Suit and Tie, and it was it's just gonna be a guy in a suit with like a box of Thai food.
That's good, yeah.
Tie Me a River, and it was gonna be maybe Justin Timberlake or something like that eating Thai food. Boys Don't Tie.
Yeah.
You could literally just have, what could it be? Yeah, like a guy crying, and there's a tear there, and there's a big cross, a big X next to the tear.
What about I'm tired of being alive, and it's just someone hanging from a noose, like a box of noodles or something.
That's it. That's the one. I'm tired of being alive. That's perfect. Yeah, it's got a noodle around their neck, hanging off the building.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think I had Thai Sharona.
Oh my God, that's great. That's a good one.
Yeah, and I don't even know how that'd work in a shirt. But yeah, basically, like if it's on an ad for the Thai restaurant, they play that riff. Tie, Sharona.
I dig that.
And then Tricycle, and it was just a guy on a bike, like maybe delivering Thai food.
That's good too.
But yeah, that should be coming out hopefully.
Hey, boy,
yeah,
oh, sorry, go on.
Oh no, go ahead. What is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Oh, I was just gonna say I think we should probably wrap because my laptop's saying it's whatever is full. Yeah, my alarm's going off. But yeah, I'll ring you back straight after.
Yeah, number 2 easy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're getting good at the Zoom ones.
Yeah,
this is really.
We're gonna be back soon. I think I'll be back in 3 weeks, and we'll be back in studio. Oh, yeah. Apparently this new premiere isn't going to open up.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to follow what Gladys has been doing. I'm going to go my own way.
No.
Yeah. I'm terrified. But yeah, that might be what we'll talk about. But for the listeners, we'll see how we go next week. We'll probably find out if Sydney's ever going to open up. But yeah.
Imagine if, just to cap this episode, I just put a barrel in my mouth.
Yeah.
Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to you next week. Yo, yo!